but never until they're comfortable moving. Never until they say, I'm ready. The athlete says, I'm ready. Okay. Flight series. So, she didn't totally do it, but they're going to do a few. Again, looking for shape coming out of the backward roll for that step in, for their hips to be totally square. And then she did it right. And for there to be an extension as they go back, with their hips squeezing forward to drop to their back. So again, this is like back handspring, handspring layout, layout. The foot should step behind out of the roll. We're looking for the shape in the roll. That's like the back handspring. And as they fall back, I want to see a lift in their toes and a squeeze in their hips as they fall back. So again, as we're creating with all drills, it's creating the pathway for the muscles, for the body, for the direction of the legs, for the eye line of the eyes, that become committed to memory. So it's super important that they understand what the purpose of the drill is, what part of their body they're meant to be focusing on. So they're not just like cycling through a bunch of drills incorrectly, because then we're creating an incorrect pathway, which kind of totally defeats the purpose. So on this, I want her to step 1 foot behind, not necessarily beside the other, but with square hips. Right, so you can see a little bit of undercut there. So there needs to be a little bit more push and a lift from the hips. And then creating the connection, understanding. That was nice. Roll, foot under, lift from the hips, and pushing back. And creating power coming out of the back handspring into whatever's coming out after that. Good, now the same thing going into the step out. The reason I like them to do 2 feet first is so that it creates the strong push, and so that they can feel the power coming out of the initial first step out into the second one. And as we move into doing step out of the roll, I want them to maintain that same speed and that same power that they used in the 2-foot back handspring. And then it's an easy move to, again, a floor beam. And I think 3 back handsprings, it should be a mandatory in everybody's complex. Just the feel of going from one to the next to the next. So that flow on beam of moving. And something I also like to include in complex on beam is the flow from doing an acro skill into doing a dance movement, to doing another dance movement, into doing another acro skill. And that could be basic and simple acro skills, simply so that the athlete gets the comfort in moving fluidly from one thing to the next, not necessarily things that are in their routine. Basic things, a split leaf, to a full turn, to a back walkover, to a back handspring, to a step in, to a handstand, to a step down, to a sissone. You get the idea. So that they're constantly reinforcing the eye line and what they're looking at, where their foot is, and where their body posture is and positioning is, and the ability to lift and from one thing to move into the other, which is where I think the value of doing 3 back handsprings just as a necessary part of beam is so essential, because all the kids that do this comfortably are so comfortable moving on, I've noticed, into doing series, any kind of series. And this is the progression going into hand lays, hands, on a line, handspring, step down, rebound up onto the mat. Again, on that rebound, I want to see their booty squeezed and their hips lifting forward as